It's been 75 years since the Geneva Conventions were established as a framework to ensure the protection of civilians, detainees, and wounded soldiers in war. The International Committee of the Red Cross, which oversees the convention, says the laws have been widely ignored and are needed now more than ever.
International humanitarian law is under strain, disregarded, undermined, to justify violence. More than ever, the world must recommit to this robust protective framework for armed conflict, one that follows the premise of protecting life instead of justifying death. Today, there are more than 120 conflicts recorded by my organization. And while governments and media focus on destruction in Ukraine and Gaza, armed conflicts elsewhere take a similarly shocking toll. Violence in Ethiopia has claimed hundreds of thousands of lives. Fighting has displaced 8 million in Sudan and 6 million in the Democratic Republic of the Congo. Protracted conflicts in Mali, the Central African Republic, Colombia, Mozambique, Myanmar, Syria, and Yemen all take a grinding human cost.
Well, the 1949 Geneva Conventions are a series of international treaties that establish standards for humanitarian treatment in war and has been ratified by 196 states, including all UN member states. The first convention ensures that injured soldiers are treated humanely and protects medical services from being attacked. The second convention extends these protections to those at sea, making sure shipwrecked and injured military personnel are treated well and safeguarding hospital ships. While the third convention focuses on the humane treatment of prisoners of war, banning torture, ensuring they get basic needs like food and shelter, and allowing them to stay in touch with their families. And the fourth convention protects civilians during war, prohibits attacks on them, and outlaws collective punishment. Geoffrey Nice is a human rights barrister who led the prosecution of former Serbian leader Slobodan Milosevic at the UN's International Criminal Tribunal for the former Yugoslavia. He says the world has changed slowly but surely since the conventions were signed, and that international pressure is key to holding Israel to account.
Those four conventions and the protocols and other instruments since have slowly but surely been taken as the law. They weren't necessarily taken as the law to begin with, but they are now the law, and therefore all countries signed up or not as it might be, and they nearly all are, have to obey the law. But of course, if you look at a domestic setting, we have a law and we have people who break the law. And it takes time to reduce the amount of offending, and you're never able to reduce it to nothing, it seems. But that is what is slowly happening in the world. And I think the most important example, perhaps slightly optimistic rather than gloomy, for your viewers who are concerned about Gaza, would be to reconsider or to consider the judgment in the advisory opinion of the International Court of Justice delivered a few weeks ago, which applied all the law and said quite the degree to which Israel has been happening offside, illegally, wrongly. Why is that important? That is the law. And that means that countries like Great Britain, but also the United States of America and other countries cannot go on supporting Israel unless they remind Israel that the Geneva Conventions and all the rest of what's now called international humanitarian law has to be applied.
Make sure to subscribe to our channel to get the latest news from Al Jazeera.